so I'm going to finish the rest of my questions since I have the rest of them in now. So the next question I have is from Married and Blessed. It says, from one TTCER to another, how do you deal with baby showers, pregnancy announcements, and showing off of newborns? So, I really have to say that baby showers don't bother me at all. I don't have a whole lot to go to. Actually, I have one in August, but I mean, really, that's the first one I would have went to since we've been TTCing. So that doesn't really bother me, though. I mean, I love her to death, so I'm not going to be upset. Pregnancy announcements, well, that was a weird noise, sorry. But really, on Facebook, we have a lot of people, everyone has a lot of people on Facebook who they maybe don't talk to all the time, they're not really close with, they haven't seen them since high school, that type of thing. So when I see just like the random people that I'm not like super close with on Facebook announce a pregnancy, I have to admit it stings. It does sting a little bit. It's a different kind of feeling than when I log on to my TTC YouTubers or Instagram and I see that someone's got their BFP on there. It's totally different feeling because online I'm completely overjoyed and happy for them. On Instagram and my TTC friends, but on Facebook it can kind of sting a little bit. I have to admit that. Also, showing off of newborns. That doesn't bother me either. It's really not seeing babies or like holding babies or seeing other people's kids. It's really just seeing the announcement and like that first initial feeling like, gosh, why can't that be me type of thing. But I really do. I pray about it. I try to get over it because I know I shouldn't be jealous of what others have because my turn will come soon enough. The next question is from Monica Raka, sorry if I mispronounced that. Her question is, from the beginning of TTC journey to now, how has your method changed? P.S. Hope you get your BFP soon. I too am a TTCer. Well, first of all, good luck, and I hope you get yours as soon as well, Monica. My methods have changed because in the beginning, all I did was track my fertile cycle on as to what Ovia said or like what other app I was using. I didn't have Ovia at the beginning. Now I actually take OPKs. I am temping. I know kind of what signs and symptoms to look for around my fertile period because before that in the beginning I didn't even know that there was ovulation pains or signs. So that's definitely changed. Davis Mommy Established 97 ask, how did hubby propose and how long did you date before you got married? Also, how many kids do you and hubby want? So the first part, how did he propose? It was when we were with his family on a vacation that they take almost every year. We were up at Lake Almanor, which is beautiful, and we went on a hike. I'll have to tell you the picture in here, but we went on a hike on one of the mountains, and he proposed with himself, me, and his mom were the ones there. So it was, I kind of knew it was going to happen because he was acting funny, but at the same time, when he actually did it, my facial expressions could tell you that I was just so in love with that moment. So that was, I just loved it. How long did we date before we got married? We started dating around, I guess you could say we were hanging out around July of 2012, and then we got married in November 2013. So a little over a year before we got, year and a half, I would say, before we got married. And again, that's a whole other story in itself, just like I've said before. How long or how many kids we want? I already answered that one in a previous. And next one here is from Sarah and Peter B. And she asked, if you could go back and redo something in your life, would you? And what would you change? Honestly, there's a lot of things in life that I'm not proud of that I've done or experienced or been through. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't want to change them necessarily, but I wouldn't change them just because everything that happened has brought me to where I am now, and I am a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. So even though I've went through traumatic events, sad events, I've made mistakes, I've failed at things, I would not change it because as hard as they all were, I'm where I am now. So no, I would not change anything. Or Jess says, how do you think you'll react when you do get your BFP? Screaming, cursing, crying, LOL, etc. I honestly think I will scream and I will start to cry. I think my first reaction will be like, oh my gosh! And then after that, I'll just start sobbing. And you guys are probably going to see this because I I do like record all of my tests. I just don't put them all up. So you definitely see, you know, at least one live test each cycle. I try to, and so that you'll definitely see my live BFP reaction. And that's something I just can't wait to, I can't wait for you guys to see that because I can't wait for it to happen. SimonetteStalder said, what is the biggest personal change you've ever made? I think the biggest personal change I've ever made was moving to California. And the story behind why I moved to California has to do with a past relationship. And once again, if anyone's interested in that whole story, I'm more than open to talking about it because it is healing and therapeutic to talk about things that have happened in your past. So I think just making the bold step to move out here for good and to stay here, it just was the best thing I've ever done for myself. I miss my family back in Kansas, but it was just something that I think I really needed to do. And it's brought me where I am now, and I'm couldn't be happier with that.
Whoa. Well, hello there.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to answer this question together. Okay. So you have to look at the camera to do that. All right. So I can't pronounce the username, but it's Ilmaida11. It says, how would you discipline your children in the future, and do you believe in spanking, timeout, etc.? So how about you answer that first?
Well, first, when my kids are making me upset, I'm going to give them some NyQuil, make them go to sleep.
I'm serious. Okay. So be serious now, because everyone knows. Well, I hope everyone knows that you were kidding. So, like, how about you tell us how you were disciplined as a child?
How I was disciplined?
Yeah, and then if you would do that with your children, or if you think you would do that.
I would be sent to my room if I did something wrong. If I used a curse word, I don't just get a bar of soap in my mouth. I get liquid soap, which is poisonous. Well, I'm reading the question. And then I got hit with...
Well,
it sounds bad. I got spanked with usually a hand. If it was, you know, my parents felt like it was a belt.
Was it your mom or dad?
Usually my dad. My mom would spank sometimes. My mom was more the wash your mouth out. My dad was more, I'm going to hit you with this belt. And then sometimes he'd make jokes and threaten us because for some reason he had wooden nunchucks. And those things would, you know, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to hit you with that.
Okay, so let me just reiterate that. Wow. So I was spanked with a hand and maybe a belt too, and put in timeout, and I had to have soap a couple times and baking soda. But I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where we're not going to really know until we have our own kids. But I don't think that I'm against. Well, definitely not timeout. Like, every kid can experience timeout. Like, that's just common. Baking soda, I think I would definitely use that. Obviously not soap, but because that's, you know, obviously poisonous now. Now we know this, but we're still living, so that's good. And spanking, I don't know. I guess it's one of those things we have to decide once we have kids. But I think, like, I feel like I don't want spanking to be something I do when I'm angry with my child, because that's spanking them out of anger. There's a difference between spanking out of anger and spanking to discipline. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
So.
That's true.
Yeah, I think it's another one of those questions where you can't really answer to have your own kids, because you might feel differently. The only other question I had was from Hannah Kerrigan, and it said, when it comes to TTC, do you have any superstitions? And that was already a question in my last video. That is all the questions I have at this point. So if I do continue to get questions, I'll definitely keep them and hang on to them for future Q&As. I love doing these. It's fun, and I can't wait to hear more questions in the future. And if any of you out there are thinking of doing one for your channel, do it, because we all would love to get to know you better too. Have a good day, guys.